finally we were able to find a break and let go of our jobs and focus on strictly being entrepreneurs. And we had a business that we had just came across that we really didn't know much about, but we really put all of our focuses and effort on being the best at what we could do. So we really put that focus and it paid off. Today, if we continue on to the story, I could tell you many failures that we learned from that made us who we are today. But today, luckily, we're able to be very successful on being entrepreneurs.
So, hello everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode. Today we have a super special guest, Sofia Castro. She is a Cuban descendant and she resides in Florida. She has an amazing story that I think everybody can relate, and not only that, but look up to. She has a high school dropout. She has a husband. They're a super couple. She was pregnant when she was 18, so there's a lot of women out there that can relate to the story, and they've been successful business couple, business family oriented. So with no further ado, Sofia, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well,
Appreciate it.
thank you so much for the invite. I'm honored to be here to be able to share my story and give knowledge of whatever information you guys want to give your audience. I'm super excited about it. I always love to be able to give some powerful knowledge out there that if they could take it and run with it like we did, it just always makes me fulfilled.
Amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Go ahead, German.
So we want to start. So we know and we want to take it differently than other podcasts. People can hear for our audience. People can hear your story in other episodes. But we know, for example, yeah, you're a high school dropout. There's a lot of people out there that can relate to that. I know for a fact that you became pregnant very young, at a very young age. Another thing that we know and people can also listen in other episodes is that you met your husband at a really young age, right? Um, you guys, he's very entrepreneurial mindset, and he's the one that got you into that mindset, right? And then you became pregnant, and you guys did what a lot of people do is you focus on the baby and you went back to work, right? And let's start by what happens when you have this vision, right? You want to be an entrepreneur and you have your business going on, and something like that comes to your life, and you have to leave everything and do something that it wasn't your ideal anymore, which is work for somebody. Let's start by that, and then we move on.
Okay, so yeah, so I got pregnant extremely young and only being with my husband now for 6 months. I didn't even know him. So
Mhm.
that was like a really challenging time in my life. So we were, when I had just met him, he was already very entrepreneur mindset. And I had no clue what entrepreneur, was, how to get there, even what the concept was. So luckily, I met somebody that did and was able to shine some light on our path. But when we got pregnant, we actually had to stop all of our entrepreneurship. Both of us go hit the road and really work for somebody and try to make some type of income. Meanwhile, that in the back end, when we would get home on the weekends, we would still work on our goal plan. What was our final goals in life and where we wanted to be? And we never gave that up, no matter what challenge came into our way. We never allowed that to bring us down. All we did was started to stack and rack of, like what we say right now. We started trying to stack up all of our little bit of monies that we made in a business. Because man, imagine we were working as an employee. We weren't entrepreneurship at this time. My husband had two jobs. I went back to school at the very beginning because I had no trade, and I was like, okay, I need to make some type of money. So I did a school for ultrasound tech, which I was doing cardiovascular type of tech. And then my husband was working two jobs at the time. At that point, then when I got my degree, I was able to go work. And then he kind of let go of one of his jobs and focused on being an entrepreneur during the day and at night have a job. So we did that for 2 or 3 years. And then finally, we were able to find a break and let go of our jobs and focus on strictly being entrepreneurs. And we had a business that we had just came across that we really didn't know much about, but we really put all of our focuses and effort on being the best at what we could do. So we really put that focus and it paid off. Today, if we continue on to the story, I could tell you many failures that we learned from that made us who we are today. But today, luckily, we're able to be very successful on being entrepreneurs. So, and we wouldn't change it for nothing in the world. We went through many ups, many downs, many flat lines. I mean, it was just everything that we went through were like this, but we wouldn't give that up for nothing in the world if they asked us to, because it was what taught us and what made us today such a strong entrepreneur and being very focused and getting goals done.
Awesome. And so you guys had a goal from the beginning, right? Um, so my question is going to be, what were those goals, right? And the type of business that you got into, because right now your focus in entrepreneurial is real estate, right? So, but what was it at the beginning? Because a lot of people have goals, right? They want this amazing life, and they start looking into different type of vehicles to get into it. You start with selling products, or you start online, social media, whatever the case is. But how do you guys particularly started that to get to your goal?
So, Bobby has this thing that he always says to everybody, having positive mental attitude and, being very focused and manifesting what you want in life and being very, very positive about it. I know it sounds corny. I know it's like, I can't do that. But trust me, when you really look at it and you really put it on paper and you say, I'm going to be very positive about this, I'm going to manifest what I want, and I'm going to go after my goals. So what we always did was that we put very small goals at the very beginning with a large goal at the end. Because what happens with people when they start doing goals and they put these large goals and they put all these, boards up with vision boards with, I want a mansion and I want a yacht and I want the Ferraris and I want the this and that. Those are not real set goals. Those are materialistic goals that really, that's why people never get to their goals, because they're materialistic. You need to do goals like, I'm going to make $10,000 this year. Yeah. And how am I going to make that $10,000? Well, I need to work 3 jobs. I need to save, this much money. I'm going to go and do this on the weekends. There has to be a goal for every little goal. So you have to achieve little steps to get to the main goal. And me and Bobby did that at the very beginning. We knew what our final goal was, which we always wanted to be in real estate. That was always our goal. We didn't have the money. So we knew that goal, we couldn't get there. So what was going to be our little stepping stone to get there? And we always did that. We're going to make this much money this year so that we could save X amount of money. The next year, we're going to do this. And we did that. We were actually successful on creating small goals with having the huge end goal in mind. So it's almost like following a path, you can't get to the end of the path without going step by step. Mm-hmm. So that's something I always give that advice to everybody, make sure that you understand your goals and that you have little stepping stones to get there, because if not, you're going to get super overwhelmed. And then you're going to say, you know what? I can't reach that goal. That goal that's not for me. It's not true. Mm-hmm. It's just that you didn't have a stepping stone to it. You need a blueprint to get to that end goal.
Okay. I love it. So what I took from that is that you broke it down into actionable tasks. You didn't just say, yeah, I just wake up and do it, because no one wakes up and does anything. You have to break it down, think of it in a smart way, and then execute. You just don't act. You actually take steps to then act. Correct?
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly awesome. What we did. And it works miracles, guys. It's such an easy little tool that just a lot of people just don't want to see it, because everybody just wants to go from 0 to 100, and 0 to 100 is unrealistic. It does. Yep. I don't care how much money your parents could have or somebody else, a mentor or whatever they could give you. You can't go from 0 to 100. It's not
Completely
not
agree.
doable, let's say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you guys wanted to get into real estate. That was the end goal, right? But what type of businesses do you get into to start that, right? So you got into business, you got pregnant, and then you guys went back into business and opened up your own business. What type of business was that?
So we were looking through the time that we got pregnant and we knew that we had to go back to being employees. During that time, we would, like I told you, every day we would get home at night, we would really sit down and like, okay, what are we looking at? What are we going to do to be able to be, to get to the next level? And we would look for businesses. Back then, there was no internet. Back then it was either Craigslist on paper or something, or your newspaper, your USA Today, it was like different. So Bobby would search the newspapers all the time under business opportunities, and we would look at all of them and we would start creating, okay, what can we create to make money to be able to get into real estate? And we came across a leasing broker business, which at that time we had no clue what that meant. We were like, okay, what is this? Let's look into it. We started looking into it. It was a little small mom and pop company that was selling manuals on how to become a broker, a leasing broker. So what that is was any company that was looking to buy heavy equipment, x-rays, bulldozers, all these big equipments for their companies, but they didn't have good credit and they were declined by the bank to get a lease or a finance. We would then go after those deals and we would place them with community banks that would do more of your local deals, and they would deal with a little bit of bad credit if the business was doing good. Yeah. So we were able to get into that business, and being the strong entrepreneur that my husband was, he really dig deep into it. And how to really be successful, because everybody else that would buy that manual, the reviews were terrible. They're like, oh, this is a scam. You can't get this business. It only gives you a manual. I don't know what this is. I don't know how to do it. But we took the time of what I tell everybody: when you do something, get all the knowledge in that industry. Don't waste your time on looking at other industries if you're in this industry. Look at that industry, really deep dive into it, learn every little ins and outs so that you could be the best at whatever level you're at. You're doing your best at that level. So we did that, and we went scaling that business from I think that was my daughter was probably like 3 years old. So like in 1995, something like that, we started this business. Me and Bobby at home, no office, no brick and mortar. We were inside an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment with a little, a dinosaur computer, and a typewriter. And that's how we would fax our stuff. Oh, and a fax machine, because it wasn't even scanning.
Yeah.
And we created this business from zero. And in 2019, we were able to exit that business with a $1 billion evaluation.
My God,
and
that's
me and Bobby were
amazing.
able to successfully exit out of that business, and now focusing 100% on our real estate portfolio.
That's
Wow.
incredible. So tell us, because I find it interesting. I like I told you before we started recording. I listened to your story in so many podcasts, right? So you guys sold the company, and then you guys got into real estate.
So we got
Big
to real
time.
estate before we sold the
Yeah.
business. We've
Oh,
been in
okay.
real estate since 2003. We were running both businesses at the same time.
But one
But
was
we've
doing
been,
better than the other at that point.
well, at that point, our still the business that we sold was still bringing in a cash flow that was just ridiculous. It was a
Yeah.
business that still to this day is super successful, continues to grow. It's an amazing, amazing business. So that business was our mother cow, bringing
Yeah.
in all that big cash so that we could start looking into, because we do more of a generational wealth in real estate. We don't look to flip and make $50,000, $100,000, 20. That's not what we're in for.
Yeah.
In our multifamily portfolio, we're more into cash flow today. First day that we buy the property, it needs a cash flow, and we look for generational wealth type of things. So we look for properties that we're able to keep in our portfolio for a long period of time and not looking to sell. So that's not what we look to do when we buy our real estate portfolio.
So that's a great point. What is your actual strategy? Are you looking into more large commercial multifamily? Are you looking into storage, or is it just all commercial depending on the deal? And are you doing just joint ventures, syndication? What? How are you
So
structuring? Or
we
is it all the
started
above?
off, yeah. So when we first started off back in 2003, I'll tell you a story how we got into real estate and it was a big failure and how we learned what we're doing today. We got involved in 2003 with a group that we really didn't know much. We didn't know them and they didn't know us much, and we didn't know the industry that they were inviting us to joint venture with them. But back in 2003 to 2007, condo conversions were extremely popular. I'm not sure if you know what condo conversion is, but that's when you buy an apartment building, take out all the renters, and turn all the units into condos. So you sell them individually to different owners. So now you have, let's say, 100 doors in a building, you're selling 100 condos. And now you have an HOA and it's a condo living and you own the units. And we would buy the multifamilies, we would get all the renters out and we were converting them. But in that conversion from 2005 all the way to 2007, the world was starting to fall apart. And the financial crisis came in. Well, we kind of almost lost everything that we had saved, our hard earning money for many years, because we didn't know and had no knowledge of that industry. And we got caught in the financial burden. Thank God that we knew business and that we had our business that was giving us a lot of cash flow to be able to maintain this failing business that we had gotten into. And we were able to get out of it. We lost a lot of money, but we didn't go either foreclosure, nor did we lose everything. We never stopped paying one of our mortgages that we had with the banks. We never failed on any of our payments, thank God. But what we learned from that was that when this crisis happened, we still had renters in some of the apartment buildings that we had bought. We had bought over $80 million worth of condo conversion. So we had bought we had bought a lot because we had the money, we knew business, and we thought, oh, we know it all. We could go in there. We have the money. We run a business.
Yeah.
Why not? This is so easy. Well, like I advised a little while ago, don't ever get into a business that you at least don't have some type of knowledge, and that you know that you're going to start small and start growing as you get more knowledge. So we almost failed there, but what we took from that, like I told you, that failure was a university degree. It was the best thing that ever happened to us, to tell you the truth. We learned what cash flow was all about, and we learned what multifamily real estate, how to really run it and have a successful portfolio, and that you're able to run it for generations to come. So with that mistake, we started going, we chilled out for 2 years. We didn't do anything. We tried to manage all of the, all the apartment buildings that we had bought that were failures at that point. We were able to sell them. And then what I did, what me and Bobby did, we decided that we were going to study the market a little bit more and start learning what multifamily apartment building was all about. So we did that. And in 2011, we started buying one single family home at a time, because we said, even though we had the money, remember, we are at this point, we're already, we're pretty good. We have enough savings. We had enough cash to go out on the market and go buy any real estate that we wanted. But we were like, you know what? We're not doing that. We're going to learn it. So we ended up buying 16 single family homes and renting them out, learning the rental business in a small scale.
Yeah.
From that point in 2012, I think the ending of 2012, we started buying duplexes. And then we went to 10 doors and 15 doors. And we went like that until 2017. We had bought over 23 properties that had about 330 doors of our portfolio, all small garden apartments, anything from duplex. The biggest apartment building that we had was about a 40 unit. That was it. We never went past that. But we learned the business from 2011 to 2017. Yeah. We learned the multifamily business in and out. We did every market studies. We did everything. We did a deep dive into it. And in 2017, we sold all of that portfolio and decided that we were going to go into bigger portfolios and only buy 100+ stores. So any property has to have 100 doors or more for us to buy it.
Nice.
So we've grown, we started very small, but with the time, learning with the curves, getting all the failures out of the way in a small little way. And then now we're, bigger, buy way bigger apartments. Today, we own about 3,000 doors, all in Florida, Tennessee, and Texas. And we do not syndicate. To answer that question, that's been all of our own money. We've never done any kind of syndication with anyone. We do have a partnership in one of the big buildings that we just bought. It was a 400 door, but we're 95%. And it's with a big group that they do workforce housing. So we decided to go on with, that's our first joint venture. We do have some other investments that were passive investors. That was at the very beginning when we first got into the big properties, that we wanted to see what they were doing and learn a little bit more about the big properties, because it's different than when you own garden apartments and when you own big communities. So we learned that part. And now today, luckily we have a very successful portfolio and we're growing every day. We buy, we're looking to buy and grow this portfolio to, I don't know when, to when.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. And I love the concept of, you pretty much took what you could handle or thought you can handle at what I imagine at that time was still a large scale, a large, amount of assets, but for you, it was enough to know how to run the business. And I think we relate to that because we're like, hey, at 20, we understand it. We're learning, we're perfecting our trade. And then from there we can scale to bigger and better things. But you mentioned, the biggest learning experience was that failure with that condo conversion. And I'm curious to know is what you took out of that to perfect your skill. Was it, how to handle renters better, how to, because you mentioned you learn how to actually look at cash flow, right? Like, what do you mean by that piece there too? And give us some nuggets.
When we went into the condo conversion, the way that the whole investment portfolio that they brought up to us was a complete different performance. It was supposed to be on sale. So we were going to buy, say 100, I'm just saying a number. We buy 100 units at $100 per, $100 per unit. And we're looking to sell this for, 250,000 per door, something like that. So we were looking more at the ROI. What was our end results coming in? We weren't worried about cash flow. We didn't want any renters in there. That wasn't the way the platform was supposed to be running. So when that 2006 hit and we went into operation emergency mode, because nobody was going to buy, nobody was financing, no bank was going to give out no loan.
Renting.
No, so they had to go back to renting. So when we did that, we were like, hold on a minute, we got renters in here. We're getting money on a monthly basis and we're able to support all the expenses through the rent that's coming in. So at that point, we just shift from, concentrating on an ROI to concentrating on an NOI on a monthly basis. So, and how to manage a property, because on a monthly basis, you have tenants that have issues, tenants that are not paying, how to get the tenants into your building, how to keep the buildings clean, how to do your turnovers, how much do you put into that building in order to receive a good NOI? So all those things are completely different than when we were first going into the business as a condo conversion.
So were you guys self-managing or did you have a property manager?
So we self-managed all the way from the 2006 all the way to 2017. We self-managed.
Wow, that is work. That is work.
It's work, but let me tell you, whoever wants to get into multifamily investing, all I could tell you is that you need to know how to manage your properties before you could be successful. So at the very beginning, you have to put in that hard equity sweat and be your property management, even though that you're going to hire people, right? But you need to understand that business because that's the heartbeat of having a successful portfolio in multifamily.
But you
Wow,
guys had
that's huge.
you guys had a shift mentality in that too, because you don't self-manage anymore, right?
No, nope, we
Okay,
don't self-manage no more. Now we do asset management.
got it.
So now
And you
that
know how to manage them.
exactly, you have to know how to manage them. It is so important because when you hire a management company and they're managing your asset and you don't know what is right or wrong or when to do certain things in a property, and a property manager is telling you, a property management company is telling you what to do, and you see no good success out of it, or your NOIs are not great, and you're saying, but they're telling me that this is the way it is. So you're saying, oh, the property, it's the property, it's this, it's that. No, it could be your property management. A lot of times, most of the times, it's your management company that's not being successful. And that's why you're not getting the NOI or you're having so many issues in a property. So we made sure that we learned how to property management. And trust me, that was a difficult task. It was not fun. I would work way more hours when I had to manage my properties because I had to be the babysitter for my employees, right? So I needed to make sure that they were getting things done at the right time, that they were executing the plan that we had put in place for them and all this stuff. So it was a babysitting job, believe me, it was not fun, but I learned so much that today my property management company, or the property management company that we use, we meet with them on every 2 weeks. We have a Zoom call with every single regional property manager that manages our properties. And we go over things, and I tell you, I love them. They're awesome. They're excellent. I have no complaints. But if we don't implement certain rules to them, they would do things that didn't go with our core value, and that it wasn't going to give us the max NOI that we were looking for. Either they were doing too much expenses, or they're not giving the right concessions at the right time, or they're not worrying about marketing. Always something. So if you know and you're able to asset manage, it's the best thing ever. At that point, then you're sitting pretty and you could go work from wherever, and you're going to get a mailbox money in that every month. Here you go. You go to your mailbox and you're going to, yay. And you did really once a month or twice a month that you did meetings with your management company, and that you make sure that your numbers are good.
Nice.
It's awesome.
I love it. I love it. That is the goal right there. That is the goal. And then, okay, so as you move forward now, what is the vision and what is the goal? Because I see a lot of people, and personally, you know, now the more I've gotten into this, and the more I realize is if I get to a point where I have the capital to outright, you know, JV or buy multifamily, I could also become the bank. Have you ever thought of an equity firm, or a different avenue towards that?
Yes, funny you say that. Yes, I'm actually working on a really big plan right now, which should be taking off probably by the beginning of 2021. And it's very similar. I'm going to be buying some small garden apartments when, you know, if I could get them through foreclosures or tax liens or whatever it is. I'm going to have a inventory of small garden apartments, and also being able to do owner financing on those small garden apartments is what our goal is for 2021 right now.
Awesome. That's great. That's
Yes.
great. And
With
then
all the audience out there that are trying
Yeah.
to get in and they can't get financing, or they can't find the deals, we're going to already have those deals set up. Like when we buy them, we'll make sure that we already have renters in them. It's going to be a cash flowing business. And all we do is we're going to do owner financing until they could then go get their own financing and refinance it once they're ready.
and take
That's an
over.
amazing concept. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
Yeah.
great.
That's hopefully
No.
it'll be done by 2020, you know, sometime in February, March.
Nice. And what's your big goal in
The
life?
big goal is being able to leave my grandkids and 100-year legacy where they're able to have, you know, all that hard work that we did. And of course, not giving it to them without doing any work, because our kids, mine and Bobby's kids, they're 29 and 24. and they have to go to work every day. They're at our office. My daughter has her own business. My son works with us and also has another business on his own. But they have to participate in the family business or do whatever they need to do, but they can't sit at home and just, here you go. But my legacy that I want to leave behind is teaching them how to be entrepreneurs, but they already have an easier road than what we had. They already have the blueprint set for them, and all they need to do is follow it. But that's my biggest goal, is being able to be that successful in life where I could just know that 100-year legacy is set and that we made it. So
nice.
That's something that really gets me excited.
I also have a question. What was the most satisfying business experience that you've had throughout, your career?
Well, I have to say, being able to get the company that we started from zero and having it be valuated at $1 billion, that had to be the best feeling in the world. And not only because of the money. The money was great. Trust me, I love it. I'm not going to tell you that was bad, but the sensation of being that we were able to create such a steady business, and that today, even though that we've been out for a year, that company's already grown an evaluation, another $1 million probably. So it's just such a good satisfaction that, myself and my husband, coming from nothing, having $0, and that we were able to create that company and be able to, exit out with that evaluation has been an ecstasy. It's been awesome.
Nice. That's amazing. I love it.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Man, I am so excited that we were able to talk to you and get to pick your brain, because that is truly an adventure there, especially for Latinos and anyone out there who started from zero. Like, all you have to do is set up those tasks, hit it every day, make it happen, and have a positive attitude. That's what I'm taking out of this.
Yep.
But 100%. I want to ask you, what kind of systems do you have in place? I know we talked about property management, but then, are you also doing anything for asset protection? Like, for example, like, are you doing whole life insurance? Are you doing any other things that we could talk about for generational wealth too?
Yeah, definitely. So we have an attorney that specializes in estate planning, and they actually put a complete plan together for what depending on what your goals are. So we have a 100-year generational plan that we want to leave behind, and we want to make sure that we are protected. Number one, with all your trust. Making sure that when, all the taxes that implement into a trust are well taken care of. We put insurance on, life insurance, whole insurance, a second to die, all of those type of insurance, to make sure that when we're not here, that all those taxes that this lovely government wants to take from us once we're gone, that the kids or the grandkids or grandkids, whatever it is, they don't get stuck with having to reduce 50% of everything that we own to give it to the government. So we're very well, strategically done by putting on insurance, trust, putting wills in places. There's so many steps to this, but we have an attorney that is amazing, and he deals only with estate planning. So yeah, it is that's something that's very, very important, even when you start little. Once you start generating some net worth, and that you have that you're going in a goal plan, I would suggest everybody to consult with an estate attorney, because it makes a big difference. I didn't know this at the very beginning of us getting into real estate, and thank God nothing happened. But at the very beginning, we had it all done very, mom and pop way, and we weren't protected. So if God forbid something would have happened to us, that generational wealth that we wanted to create wouldn't have stayed, because we did it the wrong way, because we didn't consult an attorney thinking, oh, this is only, $100,000 or $500,000. Oh, it doesn't matter. But it does matter, because whatever little bit you have, you want to protect it. I mean, you did work hard for it. So you don't want to just lose it to give 50% or more to, to the government or to anybody that comes after you.
So you brought up a good point there. And because I've been looking a lot into estate planning. I'm more the planner in the business here with my brother. But one of the things I always debate, and it's hard to know what estate planner to go to or what lawyer to go to, because not because I don't know they're estate planners, but because I know there's quality differences in who you go to, right? It's like a CPA. Not all CPAs know cost segregation. Not all CPAs know this or that, or you have to be tailored. So it's always hard to get a good reference. But when do you recommend, actually, because you're saying start even when you're small, but how would you, one, is it expensive at a, if you're really looking at a nice structure of trust, but when do you really think is the right moment to go and do that?
So, at the very beginning, it is very expensive. I tell this to a lot of my people that come to me and ask me for advice on this. At the very beginning, go to a real estate attorney that, and don't go to the ones that are charging $700,000 an hour. They're like ones that want to just take your whole entire savings. So go look for something that, that you could use an associate in the practice instead of using the main guy, but that they understand real estate. Don't necessarily need to go get an estate attorney yet at the very beginning, but the least you need to go get is you need to go get a real estate attorney, so that at least when he's doing your LLCs for each properties, that they're making the correct, who's going to own the LLC, what percentage is going to go in, what, so that you're at least that part, you're doing it correctly. Once you start getting a little bit more that you have an estate, a net worth, I would say, that's getting close to 500,000, $1 million. I would say that within that time, I would definitely consult one. And they might tell you, hey, it's too early for you to spend this kind of money, but this is what you need to do, or at least they guide you a little bit, because they'll give you some, reference on what to do. But a real estate attorney that understands real estate, I would consult them from day one. A CPA, when you're going to go into real estate, a CPA has to be extremely focused on real estate, because this happened to me too. I went to a normal CPA, my business CPA. He didn't know anything about real estate, and he didn't take advantage of a lot of the tax advantages that you have through real estate at the very beginning. The first 2 years, we lost a bunch of benefits that we didn't know about because we went to a normal CPA. So a real estate CPA and a real estate attorney are two people that I would say that you need on your team from day one.
No, that's amazing advice. And I like that, because that's actionable, and that's exactly where I'm thinking of, where should I try to do this. And I'm always thinking of setting a foundation. So sometimes you can set that foundation too early, and sometimes you absolutely need it. And there's a point where it really is. So we appreciate that. German, what you got?
No, I'm amazed. This is exactly where I wanted to take the podcast to, actionable steps. So I really appreciate it, Sofia. I know we value your time. And we want to close. For our listeners, where can they find you, so they can contact you if they have any questions?
Yes. So on Instagram, it's official Sofia Castro, and Sofia is with the F, not the PH. On LinkedIn, it's Sofia Castro. And on Facebook, it's Sofia Estrada Castro.
Okay.
Awesome.
And I also have a website that you could go to, which is officialsofiacastro.com.
It doesn't have the queen in it?
It does have the queen. It does. They'll see it. No.
So she is the official. Awesome.
All right. And then for the listeners out there, if you could give us a 5-star review, show some love, and let us know if we can ever help in any way. Feel free to contact us. We're always available and open. And we have resources on our page. So get out there, make it happen, people.